One of the Queen's greatest loves is horses. She has a keen interest in breeding and bloodlines. She owns racehorses. Camilla's decision to sell Queen Elizabeth II's cherished horses just weeks after the Queen's funeral has ignited a firestorm. The whole secret surrounding this move has now come to light, with none other than Princess Anne just revealing the story that stunned the public. Tensions are simmering within the royal family. Many feel that Camilla's actions showed a disregard for the Queen's memory. Anne's reaction has been particularly fierce as she struggles to preserve her mother's legacy. Her feelings, expressed only to a handful, were that Camilla could go to hell. As whispers of betrayal grow louder, the clash over selling the Queen's horses is only just beginning. For Queen Elizabeth II, horses were far more than prized animals. They were cherished companions woven into the very fabric of her life and reign. This passion wasn't just a hobby, it became a defining part of her legacy and a symbol of her strength, dedication, and unwavering values. Throughout her reign, Queen Elizabeth was known to take time from her demanding royal schedule to care for her horses personally. She was not simply a figurehead in the royal stables, she had an in-depth knowledge of breeding, training, and horse care that rivaled many professionals. Her understanding of equestrianism went well beyond the ordinary. People close to her noted her detailed memory of bloodlines, her ability to match each horse with the perfect trainer, and her instinctive feel for their temperament. She personally selected her favorite horses, many of which became iconic symbols of the monarchy. Horses for Queen Elizabeth were a private refuge, an escape from the formality and scrutiny of royal life. Her horses were trusted companions who knew nothing of titles or politics. In a life so often ruled by protocol, they offered the Queen moments of peace and joy. Riding allowed her a rare freedom, a chance to be alone, to connect with nature, and to let the weight of her title slip away, if only for a short time. This enduring passion began early when Queen Elizabeth was a young princess. Her grandfather, King George V, gifted her a Shetland pony named Peggy for her 4th birthday. As she grew, her skills and dedication became evident, and her family encouraged this bond. This love for horses continued into adulthood, and the Queen soon became a staple in the world of British equestrianism. She supported numerous breeds, events, and charities dedicated to horse welfare and preservation. She also passed her passion down through the generations, with both Princess Anne and Zara Tindall following in her footsteps as accomplished equestrians. The Queen's horses were also a reflection of her character. She was known for her careful selection of animals that exhibited strength and grace, qualities that mirrored her own approach to her role as monarch. She understood their personalities, their quirks, and their potential. Over her lifetime, she bred hundreds of racehorses. She was famous for her ability to meticulously pair mares and stallions to create top-performing thoroughbreds. This approach led to numerous triumphs on the racetrack, with her horses winning prestigious races across the UK. For Queen Elizabeth, these horses were part of a cherished legacy. The Queen's stables became renowned for the animals and for the traditions they represented. The stables, with their rich history, housed horses that had carried her during processions, events, and royal gatherings. The Queen's funeral marked the end of an era. The future of her beloved horses seemed secure. After all, they were tied to the legacy she so lovingly built. However, the decision to sell some of them, initiated by Camilla, ignited a sense of betrayal in the public and royal family alike. The horses suddenly became symbols of division and thrust Princess Anne and Camilla into an intense and very public struggle over the Queen's legacy. More than just horses, one of the most iconic roles of the Queen's horses was in the Trooping the Colour ceremony. This event is held annually to celebrate the British monarch's official birthday. Trooping the Colour dates back centuries and involves a grand display of military precision and pageantry, with soldiers on foot, horseback, and the Queen herself often riding in full regalia, mounted on her favourite horses, including her beloved Burmese, a black mare gifted by the Royal Canadian Mounted Police. Queen Elizabeth led this ceremony for decades. Her mounted presence during the parade was a deeply symbolic gesture. Burmese became a fixture of this tradition until the Queen eventually began using an open carriage, but her horseback appearances remained unforgettable for those who witnessed them. The Queen's horses were also central to state occasions. Especially during events like the state opening of Parliament. In this annual ceremony, the Queen would travel by horse-drawn carriage from Buckingham Palace to the Palace of Westminster, symbolizing her role in the governance of the United Kingdom. The Gold State Coach, an ornate gilded carriage drawn by Windsor grey horses, carried her along the ceremonial route with the horses themselves draped in traditional royal livery. The majestic Windsor Greys were specifically bred and trained for these occasions. They are valued for their calm and steady nature, which was essential for navigating through the cheering crowds and ceremonial processions. The horses of the royal stables were also instrumental in the changing of the guard ceremonies, another hallmark of British tradition that draws thousands of tourists annually. Although the ceremony primarily involves the Queen's Guard, mounted soldiers from the household cavalry often participate. This creates a breathtaking display of British pageantry. The presence of the Queen's horses added an extra layer of authenticity and grandeur, with a mounted regiment marching down the streets alongside the foot guards. During times of national mourning, the Queen's horses played a solemn role in funeral processions. They carried the carriage bearing the coffin, such as during the funeral of Queen Elizabeth's father, King George VI, and later for the Queen Mother. These horses are trained to remain composed even in somber and heavily crowded settings, and they helped honor and dignify the memory of departed royals. Camilla's actions in selling the Queen's horses not long after Queen Elizabeth II's funeral stirred significant controversy. Reports surfaced of an unexpected decision by Camilla to sell several of the late Queen's cherished horses. The horses were widely seen as part of the Queen's enduring legacy, and Camilla's decision to part with them came as a shock. It sparked uproar within the palace and stirred sentiments of betrayal over what many viewed as a disregard for the Queen's memory. Insiders report that Camilla not only supported but encouraged the sale, urging King Charles to approve it. Some palace sources suggest that Camilla saw the horses as unnecessary reminders of a previous era or even as assets to be monetized. Her role in pushing this decision has led many to question her motivations. Some close to the royal family even described the sale as a cash grab. According to these sources, the sale included over a dozen horses, including two of the Queen's personal favorites, beloved companions that had stood by her side through years of royal duty and personal life. Among those most affected by the sale was Princess Anne, Queen Elizabeth's only daughter and a lifelong equestrian herself. Anne had a close connection to her mother's horses, sharing the Queen's passion and understanding the deep bond her mother had formed with them over decades. News of Camilla's actions left Anne heartbroken. It felt as if a piece of her mother's legacy was being erased. Sources within the palace say that Anne did not hide her disappointment. She openly questioned Camilla's respect for the Queen's memory. This tension between Anne and Camilla added fuel to an already contentious family dynamic and created a visible rift that hinted at deeper divides within the royal household. The sale of the horses also struck a nerve with the public. Queen Elizabeth's horses had long been a point of pride for British citizens. Much like the royal family, they represented continuity, tradition, and the Queen's personal devotion to her role. The horses had appeared in public ceremonies and events and formed an integral part of the monarchy's presence. With the Queen's passing, these animals were seen as living links to her legacy. For Camilla to sell them so abruptly was perceived as an attempt to sever these ties. Speculation about Camilla's motivations further fueled the controversy. While some defended her actions, suggesting that she was simply managing royal assets, others viewed her decision as financially driven. The term, cash grab, quickly entered the conversation, with critics accusing Camilla of prioritizing personal gain over respect for the late Queen. They argued that selling such prized and cherished animals was an opportunistic move, one that reflected poorly on the new Queen consort. Camilla's decision to take such a step so soon after the Queen's passing only added to the perception that her intentions were self-serving. Camilla's influence over King Charles in this matter did not go unnoticed. Though he too shared a fondness for horses, his attachment was never as profound as his mother's or sister's. Some saw his willingness to agree to the sale as a sign of his desire to modernize the monarchy. Supporters argued that the sale might have been necessary to streamline the monarchy's expenses or adapt to a new era under Charles's rule. However, to many, it seemed that King Charles had allowed a key piece of his mother's legacy to be discarded, a move that did little to endear him or Camilla to those who held Queen Elizabeth in high regard. The backlash has since intensified. Media coverage and public opinion continue to focus on the perceived betrayal of the Queen's memory. This scandal has not only created a public relations issue for the new king and queen consort but also raised questions about the future direction of the monarchy under their leadership. What began as a decision about a handful of animals has spiraled into a significant controversy. As the fallout from this decision grows, the royal family faces an uphill battle to mend its fractured public image and address the questions of loyalty and respect now swirling around the new queen consort. For Princess Anne, the decision to sell her late mother's cherished horses was more than a practical choice, it was a devastating betrayal. Anne held a unique position within the royal family. She had shared a lifetime of memories with her mother but also a profound passion for horses that ran just as deeply through her veins. Watching Camilla dismantle a piece of what she saw as Queen Elizabeth's legacy shook into her core. From her earliest years, Anne had been close to her mother. She grew up in the Queen's shadow and had often accompanied her mother to the stables. And learned from Queen Elizabeth as she interacted with the horses with a patience and gentleness that marked her character. For both mother and daughter, horses were a way to connect, a shared sanctuary where the burdens of royal duty could be momentarily forgotten. In the Queen's stables, they weren't monarch and princess, they were simply two individuals bound by a deep love for these loyal creatures. This is why Anne felt an acute sense of betrayal when Camilla, whom she felt did not understand this bond, moved to sell the horses. Anne's reaction went beyond disappointment, it struck at the core of her relationship with Camilla and King Charles. Sources close to the royal family say that she questioned her brother's support of Camilla's decision and reminded him of the significance these horses held. Allowing the horses to remain as part of the royal household would have been a fitting tribute to her mother, a way to honor her memory. This decision to sell them felt to her like a rejection of the Queen's legacy, one that neither she nor her mother's admirers could understand or accept. The Queen had treated her animals with the same respect and care she extended to her people. This was part of her quiet dignity and her sense of duty that resonated so strongly with Anne. Knowing this, Anne viewed the sale as a sign that Camilla, and by extension, King Charles, had failed to grasp the true weight of what the horses represented. Anne had always held fast to her mother's principles. She valued duty and integrity over public opinion or convenience. Camilla's actions, in contrast, seemed emblematic of a new era focused on modernizing and managing the monarchy's image and resources. To some, this approach was pragmatic. To Anne, however, it was a direct affront. Within the royal household, this issue has highlighted deep divisions. The Queen's passing was meant to bring the family closer, yet Camilla's decision has exposed and intensified old rifts. Reports suggest that Anne has been vocal about her disapproval and is unafraid to express her hurt and sense of betrayal. Some view this as a small matter in the larger scheme of the monarchy's future. But to Anne and many others, it represents something far greater. The Queen's legacy is a reminder of the qualities the monarchy was built upon: loyalty, resilience, and a deep commitment to heritage. In one fell swoop, Camilla, and by extension, King Charles, have driven a wedge that may take years to heal. In the wake of Camilla's controversial decision, Princess Anne stepped forward and took decisive action to preserve what remained of her mother's legacy. For Anne, it was a personal mission. She recognized what these horses represented and was determined to protect it. Her response was swift, thoughtful, and deeply rooted in the dedication she shared with her mother. And committed herself to the daily oversight of the remaining horses, ensuring they would continue to receive the highest level of care. Drawing on her own extensive equestrian experience, she personally selected a trusted team to help manage their upkeep, including experienced trainers and caretakers who understood both the horses' needs and the significance they held. Anne's involvement extended to every detail, from arranging their stable routines to planning their future roles in royal life. Her goal was to guarantee that her mother's beloved animals would not only be well cared for but would remain a vital part of the monarchy's public image. In addition to overseeing the horses' immediate care, Princess Anne took steps to incorporate them into public events and charity work, ensuring they continued to symbolize the enduring values of the monarchy. Engagements thus echoing the way Queen Elizabeth had used her animals to bridge the gap between the monarchy and the people, and organized a series of charity appearances featuring the horses, aiming to share her mother's legacy with the wider public. Events were planned to bring the horses to royal gatherings, showcasing them at parades, ceremonial occasions, and even local charity fundraisers where the public could see and appreciate these magnificent animals. By keeping them visible and hoped to honor her mother's memory while supporting causes close to both her own and the Queen's heart. The public response to Princess Anne's efforts was overwhelmingly positive. Many saw her as a loyal guardian of Queen Elizabeth's legacy, someone who understood the importance of tradition and respect for history. Her actions were seen as a stand against changes that some perceived as disrespectful or misaligned with the values the Queen upheld. Anne's dedication also brought a renewed sense of unity within the palace. Her actions prompted others within the royal household to reflect on their roles in upholding these traditions. The Queen's legacy, symbolized in part by her beloved horses, became a rallying point. Anne's commitment also extended to creating a long-term vision for the horses. She established a program to maintain the Queen's stables as a historical and cultural asset. She is exploring partnerships with equestrian charities and organizations dedicated to animal welfare. This initiative ensured that the horses would continue to play a role in royal life and public service. As the remaining horses take their place in future public engagements, they carry forward the memory of Queen Elizabeth and also the indomitable spirit of her daughter, who has proven herself a worthy steward of her mother's cherished legacy. In response to the backlash, Camilla has reportedly reached out to Princess Anne. Sources close to the family indicate that Camilla may now be working more closely with Anne to ensure the proper care and preservation of the Queen's horses, and she is seeking Anne's guidance on how best to honor the traditions that these animals represent. This willingness to collaborate with Anne is seen as a significant step toward reconciliation. It signals Camilla's awareness of the values that the Queen's legacy embodies and a recognition of the need for unity within the family. Camilla's efforts to rebuild trust extend beyond the family. She has also taken steps to address public discontent directly. She is making a concerted effort to show her dedication to royal traditions and British heritage by participating in public events and speaking about her appreciation for the monarchy's legacy. She has expressed her respect for the Queen's memory and her commitment to upholding the values associated with the royal family. By emphasizing her intentions to honor Queen Elizabeth's legacy, Camilla hopes to reframe her actions in a way that aligns with public expectations and fosters a renewed sense of respect among royal supporters. Part of this effort includes attending equestrian events and engaging with organizations that promote animal welfare, both areas Queen Elizabeth was known to be passionate about. This visible involvement allows Camilla to demonstrate her alignment with causes close to the late Queen's heart. Her attendance at these events is intended to reassure the public that, while her initial decision may have been misjudged, she is actively learning from the experience and adjusting her approach. While it remains uncertain whether Camilla's attempts to shift public perception will fully succeed, her willingness to reconsider her actions and work toward reconciliation has not gone unnoticed. There are signs that her efforts to rebuild trust with Anne and the public may lead to a gradual easing of tensions within the royal family. Camilla's approach to handling the backlash reflects a nuanced understanding of her role as Queen Consort. She appears to recognize that her influence will depend in part on her ability to honor the traditions that Queen Elizabeth upheld while navigating the challenges of a modern monarchy. Through her recent actions, Camilla is subtly reinforcing her commitment to royal values, hoping to present herself as a Queen Consort who respects the past while guiding the monarchy into the future. Amid the controversy surrounding the sale of Queen Elizabeth's horses, a surprising outcome has emerged, a renewed sense of unity within the royal family. What began as a divisive scandal has, in many ways, brought the family closer as members rallied around Princess Anne's determination to uphold her mother's legacy. In response to the public outcry, the family has embraced Anne's vision of using the Queen's remaining horses as a bridge between the monarchy and the public. With Anne at the helm, the royals have launched new charity initiatives and public engagements centered around these horses. The animals are being showcased as a tribute to the Queen's love for them and her commitment to service. The initiative involves using the Queen's horses in charity events aimed at supporting equine welfare and education. Several events are planned in partnership with equestrian charities, with proceeds directed toward preserving horse-related programs for underprivileged communities and promoting animal welfare, causes the Queen supported throughout her life. Public engagements featuring the horses have been especially well received. Royal fans flock to participate and share in this homage to the Queen's legacy. Each engagement offers a reminder of Queen Elizabeth's steadfast dedication to duty, and as the family members participate, they visibly demonstrate their commitment to these values. By involving the public in celebrating the Queen's legacy, the royals are subtly reinforcing their role as guardians of British heritage and strengthening their bond with those they serve. This renewed family unity has also helped to ease tensions within the palace. Though disagreements remain, particularly between Princess Anne and Camilla, the shared focus on honoring Queen Elizabeth's memory has encouraged collaboration. The Queen Consort's involvement has been seen as a positive step toward reconciliation. In the wake of these events, public perception of the royal family has improved somewhat. As the family continues to embrace this opportunity, the events surrounding the Queen's horses have laid the groundwork for a renewed sense of direction within the monarchy. They have demonstrated adaptability, a quality that is essential as they navigate both internal challenges and public scrutiny. Looking forward, the controversy surrounding the sale of Queen Elizabeth's horses has reshaped the royal family's narrative and influenced the roles of its members. What began as a divisive issue has, in many ways, clarified the direction of the monarchy. It has brought to light the contrasting values held by different family members and emphasized the importance of tradition in an ever-changing world. Through this incident, the public has gained a clearer view of Princess Anne's dedication to preserving royal traditions and the complexities of Camilla's role as Queen Consort. As the monarchy moves forward, these shifts are poised to impact its legacy and the public's perception of its future. For Princess Anne, this experience has cemented her position as the family's steadfast preserver of tradition. Throughout the controversy, Anne has emerged as a true custodian of her mother's legacy, committed to upholding the values Queen Elizabeth cherished. By stepping forward to care for the Queen's remaining horses and organizing public engagements that highlight their symbolic importance, Anne has also shown a dedication to honoring her mother's memory in a way that resonates deeply with the public. Her actions have further solidified her image as a royal figure who places duty, loyalty, and respect for history above all else. She is, after all, one of the monarchy's most trusted members. The incident has also highlighted Anne's unique legacy within the royal family. She often works quietly in the background, but Anne's devotion to the Queen's memory and the family's traditions has set her apart. Anne's commitment is a reminder of the stability that Queen Elizabeth embodied, a stability that many feel is needed in today's monarchy. The public's admiration for Anne has grown, and many now acknowledge her as a key figure in bridging the past with the present, a role she appears to embrace wholeheartedly. Camilla's position, however, has faced new scrutiny as a result of this controversy. The decision to sell the Queen's horses initially cast her in a negative light, and many have questioned her understanding of the monarchy's values and her respect for Queen Elizabeth's legacy. Yet her response to the backlash has opened the door to a possible re-evaluation of her role. By working alongside and to support initiatives that honor the Queen's memory, Camilla has shown an openness to growth and an awareness of the monarchy's need to remain grounded in its traditions. This experience may ultimately shape public opinion of Camilla and potentially allow her to build a more respected legacy as Queen Consort if she continues to honor the Queen's memory in meaningful ways. As the royal family moves forward, their commitment to honoring Queen Elizabeth's legacy will be their compass. In honoring her memory, they are building a foundation that will carry them, and the monarchy, into the future. Do you think Camilla's decision to sell the Queen's horses so soon after the funeral was tone-deaf? Share your thoughts with us in the comments, we'd love to hear them. For now, we're done. Catch you in the next video.